that's what the commission is. It's all people.
I would want to stress the importance of being mission-minded.
Like,
because,
the preacher would just say a few words and then the interpreter, and then the preacher would say, and it didn't seem to feel like there was any stoppage. There was.
Hello and welcome to the LCI Podcast. My name is Justin. I'm the online pastor here at LifeChurch, and today we're joined by brother and sister Boffin. So happy to have you guys on.
It's good to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome
to be
It's
here.
been a while since I've had you on, Pastor.
Yeah.
And Sister Boffin. So it's awesome to have you guys back on the LCI Podcast, and I'm so excited for this episode. Everybody is off to NAYC, but we are here to talk about other things than what happens in North America, the global mission, and you guys just recently went on a little bit of travel and ministry, and we're going to be talking about that today. I'm excited to dive deep into it. So let's break it down a little bit. Where were you guys exactly?
Well, Justin, let me just say I do appreciate all your work with the LCI podcast. It's just amazing, and we've just been able to sit back and watch it go. But yeah, like you say, we have so many out at NAYC. It was a good opportunity for us to sit down and have a conversation.
Yes.
We just came back from South America, our first time to South America. We have been to, was counting them up just this week, looking at it through the years, about 15 countries.
Wow. And
ministered in different countries. But we had an invitation several months ago to teach in a GATS seminar. It's a Global Association of Theological Schools. And this was a seminar in Argentina. So the opportunity came for us to be with missionary Aaron Anderson. They've been here in our church before.
Yeah.
And his family, and they're the ones with the triplets. Everybody knows them as the ones with the triplets.
Cutest little things.
Aren't they?
So we had an opportunity to be with them some in Brazil and minister there in one of the churches, and then to go on down to Argentina for the seminar. So, I thought it would just be a time to really talk about our mission and LifeChurch, kind of what our goals are, but also the commission, the worldwide call of Jesus to fulfill and then spread the gospel and fulfill his mission for us.
Absolutely. And I think with the commission, we should kind of dive deep into that as LifeChurch's view on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a global church. When we help others across the world, we're giving, and then we also host them when they come and let them speak and do their thing, and it's awesome to be a part of that. But what is a commission from the standpoint of LifeChurch in our vision? Well,
I think we've always in our ministry we've always tried to support missionaries, and I think every church can do that. Whether it's just one or several. I know churches are able to take them all on, and it's not like we totally support them, but we give an offering toward several missionaries.
Absolutely.
I think we're at about 28 missionaries, both North American and global missionaries, that we are helping to support. So don't want to make it sound like that we're paying all their expense, but many churches contribute. So I think that's the first part of it, the global view of the church. So it's not just what is right here in our neighborhood or our district, but the worldwide view. And I think that has really kind of shaped our view, our philosophy of ministry, and our goals here at LifeChurch.
Yeah, and I think that I'm glad you said that, because that kind of transitions into what we were about to talk about next, the idea of LifeChurch International.
Yeah,
that's exciting to have that tagline, international.
Yes, it is.
It's a big word,
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and I had a little reservation at first when one of our leads had suggested that, and I thought, but that's really us, because in three ways. I think, like we mentioned, financially we help support missionaries, and we give monthly toward that. We also host them when they come through. You've made reference to that. But also special projects, when there's a global need. We try to be very attentive to that and helpful in some of those areas of need. But then when we started looking at our congregation, it's been a while since I've sat down and tried to figure out how many nations we represent.
Yeah.
But we have a diverse ethnicity, nationalities that are part of our congregation here, and I feel like we're blessed by that, because
Absolutely.
here locally it gives us that international view
Yes,
that
it does.
this is what heaven looks like.
Yeah.
We've got different language groups represented, and of course we have a desire to start a Spanish ministry. But beyond Spanish, what if the Lord brings other nationalities or language groups into our sphere of influence? We want to be attentive to that and try to say, what can we do to help reach this language group?
Sure.
So I think just raising that awareness that we don't have to be stuck into just English or reaching a certain demographic, but the commission really is go into all the world,
Sure.
all nations. Really, that could be translated all people.
Yep.
So it's whether they're across the road, in the neighborhood, across the city, around the world, it's all people. So I think that's really our ambition and our goal is to do that. So I think the financial, and then the fact that we also want to reach them locally, but then our interest in taking mission trips. And so through the years, we've taken a number of different trips, taught, ministered, had seminars, and that's always a passion of ours. My wife, before she was my wife, so this goes back over 46 years ago.
A long time ago.
In one of the youth missions trips, she and her sister went to the Philippines. So,
Okay.
She's always been game to be a part of this and go. I didn't go internationally, outside of North America until 2001. I went to Ethiopia with Brother Philip Dugas, and we taught a session there. But, that kind of, I think, opened me up to doing more missions travel. So I do think that has influenced both our emphasis here and our ministry and message here locally. And I like the international idea.
Absolutely.
I think it fits us.
Yeah, and I've noticed lately you've been having someone come up and read the verse, the main verse at the beginning, in Spanish, translated in Spanish as well. So I think that's cool to kind of introduce that. We're in Arizona, we're in the desert in America, but there's so many different nationalities and different parts of the world that come together in the United States. It's almost like a melting pot sometimes of different languages
Sure.
and all those different things. And to be able to reach multiple and not limit ourselves to spread the gospel is so incredible.
That was very intentional. And I'm encouraging our other pastors to do it as well, as to have the text read in Spanish.
Right.
That's kind of leading us. We're wanting to start this Spanish ministry or bilingual service,
Absolutely.
whatever shape it takes. But right now, it's kind of raising that profile. Case in point, this week we had a guest, first-time guest, a couple. I met them outside. The man was primarily Spanish-speaking. He understood some, but his wife interpreted quite a bit for him. And they said they loved the missions emphasis.
Wow.
Of course, this happened to be Mission Sunday.
Yeah, perfect
They
timing.
love that,
Yeah.
and they loved when of course, we had one of the young men come up and interpret the text, but also I mentioned that we wanted to start a Spanish-speaking service. And she said, "Oh, we want to be a part of that."
That's awesome.
So first-time guests,
That's awesome.
that connected with them
Yeah.
because that they are a bilingual couple.
The
So,
interest.
Yeah, I
That's
think
awesome.
I think God is just kind of reaffirming to me that this is the direction to go, and
Yeah.
we need to address this need in our community.
Yeah, I think even in our young people, there's a desire. I mean, we've had a few this summer
Yeah.
that took some mission trips
Sure.
and going across the world and touching other people.
Hopefully, we've been some influence on that.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, we've had at least one go on a mission trip. This year was two.
Yep.
That went on with the AYC, the National Program for Mission Trips. And I think it's wonderful. It exposes our young people to a much bigger view
Right.
of the work of God that is not just here locally, not just in our state or North America. I mean, North American Youth Corps Congress is huge, and there's 40,000 people gather, there in Indianapolis for Youth Congress. But I think when their students are able to go outside of this country, go into a smaller area, see how people are starting churches, how they're building churches in other nations, hear somebody talking a language they don't know, and it's just it's exciting, but also it just opens, I think, our eyes to the world vision.
Sure.
Definitely.
Well, I'm encouraged to know that LifeChurch is always striving to reach more and more people, and no matter what part of life they're in, and whatever nationality they are. I think that's so incredible to do certain things to try to attack that. I mean, technology is growing, so many different ways to translate, so many different ways to get your word out there. I mean, this is a perfect time to tap into that for sure. So there's many different ways. I didn't even know in media we've been trying to do a little bit and put the scripture in Spanish as well.
Yeah.
That's been a little difficult, something new to try to add,
sure,
but I think it adds so much depth and so
Yes.
much opportunity to reach a wider audience. Because I've been in situations where they might know English, but if you were to speak in that certain language that they are, it's so much more impactful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much more meaning.
Yeah.
And so,
Definitely.
to have that opportunity would be awesome. So I'm encouraged. Hey, we need to start it sooner than later.
There you go.
Well, the case that like you were talking about there is it is so important for our missionaries to learn the language.
Yeah.
And Aaron Anderson's a great example of that. They've been 12 years in Brazil, but he speaks fluent Portuguese now, as far as I know. But,
He made it look good at least.
The
Yeah.
reason I say, he was translating for his father-in-law. He translated for both of us, and into Portuguese. And then when I think it was his father-in-law, somebody else was translating him, and they would look to Brother Anderson when they were stumped by maybe it was Tom Durant's was preaching, and there was an expression he used, and they weren't sure what that meant or how to translate it, and they looked to him. Well, Brother Anderson having a command of English and then also having a good command of Portuguese, he was able to just give him the word right away.
Incredible.
So I thought, here's a guy that, he's raised in America, he's English speaking, didn't know any other language, and to go there and really become saturated in the culture and the language, I think that is incredible. And it's a good lesson for anybody wanting to try to reach different language groups. Try to learn their language.
I think it was interesting to watch the cadence and the dance between the
interpreter,
languages and the
oh, yeah.
interpreter. Yeah, because it was like the preacher would just say a few words and then the interpreter, and then the preacher would say, and it didn't seem to feel like there was any stoppage. There was no, it was just it just flowed, and you kind of get in the
There's a
groove
rhythm-
of
there's
it.
a rhythm.
A rhythm.
Yeah, the rhythm,
Gotcha.
and it was just so cool to see someone like Brother Walkstetter who was comfortable doing that and preaching with such anointing, and then the interpreter was doing the same thing, which was his son-in-law, Brother Anderson, but he was also, you could tell he was anointed also, and it was just incredible to watch. I felt like I got to see something that you don't get to see very often.
Sure.
And that was beautiful. Was the, you called it the rhythm,
Yeah,
the rhythm and the
there it
dance
is.
of interpreting. It's beautiful. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's great.
So, here at LifeChurch, we talk about going into all the nations, touching all the nations. What would that mean for LifeChurch? As someone who's part of the LifeChurch or wants to be a part of the vision that we cast here, when we talk about reaching all nations, what do you think that encompasses?
Yeah. Well, I really think it's when we say nations, sometimes that seems more, I don't know, pragmatic, or it's hard to put your mind around it. But when you say all people, and I think it's the NIV that uses that in some instances rather than nations to say all people, that brings it down, because we're not necessarily talking about going to another nation.
Yeah.
We have other nations represented right here. So I think for LifeChurch, yes, we do want to give to global missions, but at the same time, if we can realize, look at all the language groups that are here, look at all the different nationalities represented right here in the Phoenix metro area, that really, I think that can make it more personal to us. That's what the commission is. It's all people. So rather than saying all nations, and you know, that's just part of our thinking. We've kind of been raised saying go to all the nations, but and we believe in that. But at the same time, this is such a mixed world of people groups, immigrants, whoever have come here. So I think, you know, especially in the climate, our current climate, where there's sometimes negativity toward immigrants, I think we've got to remember we're the church, and we got to reach everybody.
Absolutely.
So if we're reaching an illegal alien, an immigrant that's not here legally, and we can love them and we can disciple them as long as they're here.
Right.
If they get sent back, they could go and be a missionary
Take that
back
with
at home.
them. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
you know, this is the work, and we just got to trust God with it. Yeah, just kind
We
of.
did get to be reunited with a family that had come here about 7 years ago.
Maybe close to 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it was his job brought him here, and they were from Brazil, and it was just wonderful having them here, and their conversion, you know, to the truth and being baptized in Jesus' name, and it was thrilling for all of us to see that transformation in their lives. And so when they had to go back, you know, we just felt like they cut off our left leg. You know, it was just so hard because we had really connected with them. Well, when we were in Brazil, we were in Buenos Aires, and we were able to go to the same church that Brother Hadabaugh,
Brother Hadabaugh started.
he started.
Yeah, that family was from Brazil, and
Right.
they weren't able to connect with us in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when we went to Buenos Aires in Argentina,
Yeah, we came back.
I'd posted something about it, and then they messaged and said, "Hey, we're in Buenos Aires."
Right.
They were in the same town. Of course, it's a big town.
They were
Yeah.
visiting there. You'd come to find out they were only about 15 minutes from
Wow.
our hotel.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah,
We got to
so we
be
reconnected.
with her and two of their daughters, and the youngest one, Laura, she was just what, 6,
Just
7 years
tiny
old,
when they left, yeah.
and she was beautiful and taller than me, and you know, and then another sister was there too. So it was just really wonderful to be able to see, you know, some of the fruit of our labor here at
Sure.
LifeChurch, and the people here, and she was just was so happy. They were just so happy to see us, and we were so happy to see them. It made me feel like this is what it's going to be like in heaven.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll all be reunited together, and we're gonna, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna just love on each other, and it's gonna be. But that was probably the highlight of our journey as far as I was concerned. We saw some beautiful places. We went to some beautiful things, but to me that was the best part. You
Awesome.
know, so yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
ask
great.
highlights. So
Yeah.
she already gave hers. What about yours,
That's my
Pastor?
highlight. That's mine.
Oh my, I don't know. It's always hard just to pick out one thing, but yeah, I think we have always enjoyed, you know, going places in ministry, and there's always you know, challenges along the way, but the Lord has helped us, and we were able to go to a new continent. You know, of course, when this family went back to Brazil, they was wanting us to come down, which never saw our way clear to go, and but it was good to reconnect there, and then of course with our missionaries around the world. My wife and I spent about 15 years at Christian Life College, and now some of those students are missionaries in various continents around
yeah.
the world, you know. So to reconnect with some of them and to visit with some of them in their home country. My wife was invited to speak at a ladies' conference in Greece a few years ago, and we met some over there, and so it's really rewarding. And so I think those are always highlights: is the individuals, the people, connecting with our missionaries, and then meeting new people. Argentine people, they're just wonderful people, very loving, very open. And they'd try to talk to me, and I tried to understand. I pulled out my little app. I got a new app
That's
for
funny.
translation,
Yeah.
just try to talk to him. But Pastor Josue there, he speaks very good English. He lived in the States for about 9 years, so that gives him a little advantage. But he translated for us there, and what a wonderful group of people, and they're doing a great work. I mean, we taught in a session that they're the Bible college or Bible schools in various parts of the country come together, and the teachers learn more techniques, ways to teach students. And so it's a ministry that goes on, because they'll take some of the things they heard and learned and teach in their classes. So you never know the end result. Only eternity will reveal that. You can have an influence in somebody's life here, or maybe when you're visiting somewhere, and you never know the influence of that will extend beyond and touch somebody else down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's going to be the highlight of heaven, is just reconnecting, making all those connections, because this person invited him, and this person taught them, and this person influenced them, and this is the result of all of that.
And I think that's why I would want to stress the importance of being mission-minded, because here at LifeChurch we preach, and we try to reach, and we try to gather as many opportunities as we can to reach in these four walls, to minister to all the nations or all the people. But we have an opportunity 24/7 to minister. People who are at their jobs, people who are out at the grocery store. And so, having that mission mindset to know that there are opportunities to try to reach the world outside of these four walls. And you are a representation of LifeChurch, LifeChurch International. You are a walking LifeChurch International. And so I think being focused on missions in your mindset really helps you have a broad outlook on opportunities to minister. And you start seeing things throughout your day. They're like, oh, I could say this, or I can bless this one person that I know, or hey, I have a friend who speaks really well this language, and there's another person that's a friend of mine that speaks that language as well. This friend really knows a good grasp of the gospel. Maybe I can connect them with that person. Maybe start a Bible study and all these different opportunities that maybe we're not focused on all the time, but having a mission mindset really is important.
Yeah.
I think going overseas or going to another country, a lot of us feel like we're not equipped to do that. We're not preachers. We may not even be teachers. But a lot of times people will get a medical, trained in the medical field, and be able to go to a country that needs help, and needs some medical people there to help them, get more healthy, and that can be a ministry too, because at the same time, that you're in the country doing something good, you're also showing forth Christ by doing that.
Absolutely.
And I think that we forget that there's, we have students that go over to other countries and teach English, and there's some opportunities beyond preaching and teaching that if someone wanted to do a ministry in another country, it wouldn't necessarily have to be a licensed minister to that country. And I think it's good to remember that if someone just feels a real calling to go, and they don't feel like they have any tools, they may be able to just teach English there.
Sure.
There's some other things I'm sure that they could do if they really looked into their gifts and how God can use their gifts in another country or another place doesn't understand English. Or
Yeah. We have to understand the gospel's for everyone.
It is.
I will pour out my spirit on all flesh.
All.
And
Yes.
for the promises unto you and your children, all that are far off.
Yeah.
So sometimes we gather this opportunity to receive, the revelation of who Christ is and all this jazz. But then we tend to forget that this is for everyone.
Yeah.
This is not something to hold. I'm going to let my little light shine. You know what I mean? This little light of mine.
There you
right?
go.
And
There you go.
so having that mindset and if you have a chance to go across seas and be a part of a mission trip, or you have a burden on that, and you are part of LifeChurch and you really have a burden for, stepping out and taking a chance on a mission trip or something like that, to come to pastor and come to our leadership and share that burden, because I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. And I know here at LifeChurch we push it, and so it's definitely something that we get behind, and we definitely want to be a part of.
One of our perks this time was getting to see some beautiful places. We really weren't planning on that, but we got an opportunity to go to the, how do you say it? The falls.
Iguazu.
Iguazu Falls, on the border of Argentina and Brazil.
Sure.
And I don't know, it was breathtaking. It was incredible. We took a lot of pictures. But
we won't show them on this podcast.
I can throw them up.
Can we go for about 12 hours here? But the beautiful thing was to see, God's creation there in such a dynamic, panoramic view. It was just gorgeous. And there's over 250 falls. Is that right?
About 275.
And I was looking at a picture today.
I didn't count them. I just take their word for it.
But they're not just falls, just falls. But there's falls up here and falls coming down here, and there's a big fall here, and it's just it's something I'd never seen in my life.
Sure.
I'd never seen it in my life. And someone said, "Well, eat your heart out." Not Shoshone Falls. That was the falls where I came from in Idaho. Niagara. Yeah. Eat your heart out, Niagara. It was great though. And we got to see that because of the missionaries. They were planning on going there, and that was quite beautiful. And then Buenos Aires was just the most beautiful city. And fortunately we stayed in a beautiful hotel that had we were on the 12th floor.
Wow.
And they put us on the side of this park that was across the street, and then the skyline of the city was in the background. And I don't know, we just spent a whole lot of time taking pictures, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah, some people show the squalor and the poverty. We show the beauty and try to attract people to go to missions.
But it was beautiful.
We had a good time. We actually was able to witness to a couple of Uber drivers.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
And one of them picked us up to take us to the airport in Sao Paulo. He didn't know any English, but he had a translator app. Yeah. So he would ask a question and have it translate, and then I pulled out mine and I would respond and let it play.
So cool.
It was
and we
great.
were able to talk that way. Well, he asked, if we were, in town just as tourists. And I said, yeah, we're visiting with friends, and I said, and a church event. So then he asked us if we were a certain type of people, and I said, no, we're Pentecostal.
Wow.
And he said, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
He looked Middle Eastern. I know in that area there was a lot of Lebanese. Maybe that's what he was. But what an opportunity. I shared with him. I said, well, I'll give you the number of the local pastor here. And, call him. I think his wife is in the States right now. And he's trying to raise enough money to get to the States. And he said, I'll call you when I have a Bible question.
Wow, that's cool.
But I gave him the missionary's number there. And so you never know.
That was
just
incredible.
those random meetings like that. And then we had a layover in Panama on the way home. And we got an Uber driver to take us out to the canal and back to the hotel. And so we had over an hour with him just talking, and he had limited English, but he understood and he could speak pretty well. And we are talking about God. I don't know why they think we're Christian, but maybe we just kind of look like. I hope people could tell we're Christian.
I hope we do.
But we got talking about church, and he talking about every day he prays, and just stuff like that. But, people are people everywhere, and they all have a desire, they have a drive, they have something they want to accomplish, whether it's a Christian cause or not.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to help his family. He wants to be a better father. And just I think on a personal level,
Sure.
we can relate, and we can see the mission field wherever we're at, whether we're in another country or whether right here. I think that's really what we're trying to instill in the people that come to LifeChurch. I mentioned it Sunday. Around our facility here, we have globes, we have world relief maps, so things like that. We want that to constantly be in our mind, our thinking. This is the world. We're reaching for the world, and I don't know if all the parents appreciated it, but I told them it's our desire to call every young person to the missions field. And so once a month we have a missions Sunday, so that emphasis is always there. And I think if this is what God is interested in, this is what we should be interested in.
100%.
If this was his last thing, is go to every people, then that should be our big thing. And so I hope through this discussion that maybe somebody watching to just say, I've got to be more intentional about sharing the good news, and in whatever way that looks like. It may not be pulling out a Bible study chart and teaching, but in just sitting and sharing your story, your testimony with somebody, an Uber driver, or somebody that you're with at work or wherever, looking for those opportunities.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that sums it all up, because ultimately we're here to create disciples and to share the gospel and to reach the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's plenty of opportunity, over 8 billion people. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
we got our work hand out for it. But luckily we're not alone. We got a lot
That's
of people who truly believe this and
Yes.
and have that personal experience.
Wonderful.
Amen. So, well, thank you so much for joining us, and we're so happy that
Yes.
you guys
This is
got
Delight
on.
to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. God
Thanks
bless.
for what you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
For joining us on the LCI podcast.
You can listen more on our Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel, LifeChurch Presents, for more future content.
Again, thank you, and we'll see you next time.